Yo, so today we're going to be going over setting up guitar pedals in FL Studio. So to start off with, here's what you're going to need. An interface, a pedal or pedals, cables to connect those pedals to your interface, and then finally a power supply to bring power to your pedals. For my interface, I'm using the 18i8, but there are plenty of other options that would work. This is just the most confusing but yet important part of running guitar pedals with FL Studio. Basically, you will need an interface with additional inputs and outputs that you can plug the pedals into. Although that seems really simple at first, there are two main issues that you're going to run into: the kind and number of outputs your interface has, and then also the type of software that it runs. For example, the 2i2 only has 2 line level outputs. So yes, it would technically work, but it would be safer to run a reamp box before connecting it to your pedals. A reamp box would run you about $100, and what it does is convert the line level single into an instrument level single, which the pedals are designed for. Again, using the 2i2 as an example, it only has 2 outputs. So if you were using studio monitors with it, you would have to unplug one and plug your pedals back in, which would just be overall kind of annoying if you had to do that multiple times in the process of making a loop or a beat. The second of the issues is software. There are some videos and articles that state not being able to hear the full wet single due to bad software that the interface runs on. Although it still would work, it would just be more difficult to hear what you're doing and overall use the pedals. I'm by no means an expert on either of these issues or interfaces in general, so I'm going to go ahead and leave a Google Doc with all the research I did for this video. All of the things that I thought were really important about the articles or videos are bolded, and the original links are there as well. But here's what I can tell you. The 18i8 works great for pedals with no issues at all. I also ended up emailing Sweetwater about this issue, and they said they have never heard of an interface that does not work with guitar pedals. Overall, there's just a ton of confusing or contradicting information out there, so again, check out my Google Doc and all of the information that I have found is there. For my pedals, I'm using the Blooper by Chase Bliss Audio, and then they were nice enough to send me out their Mood to help with this video series. The Blooper is a looping pedal with a ton of fun features, and the Mood is a micro looping pedal with a delay. We'll get to explore how these sound and work together in later videos, but for this video I just wanted to focus on the setup process. And then for the cables, you'll just need basic 1/4" mono guitar cables. You'll need 2 of them to run one pedal, and then 1 more for each pedal you get. For the 2 long ones, I recommend getting ones that are 3 feet or above, just for cable routing, and that's so there is still some slack in the cable. For the extra cable that is used for multiple pedals, you only need one that is 6 inches because the pedals will be right next to each other. Another thing to mention is that most guitar pedals are mono, so you're going to have to add things like reverb or imagers to make them wide after the fact. And then the final thing is a power supply. Most small pedals don't come with power supplies, so you're going to have to go and pick one up. I'm using the True Tone 1-spot combo pack, but there are plenty of other options. You just have to make sure it's providing the right type of power in the right amount. Chase Bliss pedals use 9-volt DC power and consume 150 milliamps. So the 1-spot puts out 9-volt DC power and 1700 milliamps. So I can run multiple pedals with this one power supply. I should note that I'm using the combo pack that comes with a splitter to connect up to 8 pedals. So finally, after you have all the right gear, here's how to set it all up. To start off with, we're going to look at the back of the interface. You can see here that I have 4 inputs and 4 outputs. Outputs 1 and 2 are going to be used for my monitors, so we're going to pick either 3 or 4 to plug the pedal into. From the interface output, we are going to go into the input of the pedal. Then from the output of the pedal, we can go back into the interface. Any of the 4 inputs will do. And then you can go ahead and connect your pedal to power. And you're going to want to go ahead and keep track of what numbers you're plugging into so we can select those later in the mixer. To add more pedals to your chain, disconnect the output of the pedal currently set up and add in the little 6-inch cord between them. Then again, you can plug in the output of your second pedal back into the input of the interface. Keep in mind that order matters when you're connecting them all together. For example, the Blooper is a looping pedal, so you're going to want that last in your chain so you can record into it with all of the effects that are prior. After you have everything connected to your interface, you have to go into your audio settings in FL and change your ASIO driver. ASIO stands for Audio System Input and Output. Changing this will just allow you to see all of the inputs and outputs from your interface in the mixer in FL. So to do this, like I mentioned before, in FL you go to your options and then go over here to audio settings. Here you can see that I have the Focusrite USB ASIO selected as my device. Normally you would be on the FL Studio ASIO or something like ASIO for All or other drivers you have installed. But you want to go ahead and select the one that came with your interface, so in my case that's the Focusrite one. After that, in the mixer you'll be able to see all of the inputs and outputs that your interface offers. So to set this up for pedals, we're going to go here to the bottom and select our output. So if you remember before, I chose output 3, so we're going to go ahead and click on the 3 and 4 one. Then on the top one, we're going to select the input that we went into. So earlier we put this into input 8, so that's what I'm going to select now. Now your pedals are all set up and you can unbypass your pedals adhere to the effect. Pedals like Mood will have a bypass switch that's basically like an on-off switch that turns the effect on and off. Looping pedals like the Blooper are a bit different though. You have to hit the record button and time it to loop seamlessly with your melody. Then you can stop playing the melody in FL and it will be in the Blooper and play from there. After it's all recorded into the Blooper, then you can go ahead and edit the sound. Also on the Blooper, it has a mode called Sampler mode, which is the mode that I use most often, and it turns the right switch into a restart for the sample, so it's super easy to time it back in when you're recording with Edison. And then finally, like I just mentioned, the final step is recording in your pedal with Edison. So to do this, you want to go to the same mixer channel that you have your pedals routed through, and then you're going to want to go ahead and add an Edison. And then you can just hit this little red record button here to record in what your pedals are doing. This will just record them into an audio clip like if you were quick rendering something. Finally, then you would go ahead and push this button here just so you can put it into the playlist to edit it further or just keep it there to arrange your melody. Alright, so yeah, that's how you set up pedals in FL Studio. Overall, the interface section is super confusing, so I hope my Google Doc can help you guys make a more informed decision on if your interface is good or not. But otherwise, thank you guys for watching and have a splendid rest of your night. Again, thank you to Chase Bliss for sending me out their Mood. We'll get to see how it sounds in future videos, but that's it for now.